today, I just wanted to share what, according to me, is growing into a holistic professional. And I also believe that as you grow up the ladder, every passing day, every passing year, every passing person whom you meet offer you something to learn. Every conversation is a teacher. Every observation is a teacher. And that's how you grow professionally. You kind of imbibe. When we were born, we were not born with all the ingredients. And when we grew, some people grew so holistically and some people did not. Why did those people who grew holistically grew the way they are now? It's because they've kept their eyes, ears, and their neurons open all the time. And they keep on imbibing. They are like a dry sponge. They keep on imbibing the good qualities which emanates from a surrounding environment. It could be a good speech. It could be a conversation. It could be the body language. It could be the way a person responds to a challenge. So every passing day, if we keep all our thought processes open and we keep on perceiving what is happening and we keep on imbibing them, try to analyze them, try to equate that to our life, try to put ourselves in that particular tight corner and see what we would have done when we were posed with a challenge like that, and what did the other person do, whether what I did was right, whether what the other person did was right. So those who are involved in a process of introspection on a day-to-day basis are the ones who are the best learners, and the best learners are the ones who lead a life of complete fulfillment because they keep on incorporating the good qualities into them, which is drawn from across every single individual they meet. I think when you evolve as a professional, and if you have to call it as a holistic evolution, I think we need to imbibe these qualities from everyone. I would like to share with you some of the inflection points in my life, which I think are those which gave me that insights into how we need to evolve. I would like to quote few of those examples. Way back in 2001, I was only 36 years then. I had finished my, I owe a lot to Maharashtra because I did my diploma in anesthesia from BJ Medical College, Pune. In fact, I joined the institution because anesthesia was not my choice. I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. So in All India entrance, I had put MS Orthopedics, MD Anesthesia, and DA. And I got DA, Diploma in Anesthesia, and BJ Medical College. So I thought I will learn for 6 months how to intubate, how to give a spinal. I thought as an orthopedic surgeon, I may also require all these essential skill sets. So I joined BJ Medical College thinking that I will be there for 6 months and then leave. But believe me, BJ Medical College, Pune was my inflection point. Within 3 months, I got fascinated by the anesthesia specialty and what it offers to the world. So I decided that I'm going to pursue my journey in anesthesia. So Maharashtra and Pune was one of the main reasons why I changed my pathway and become an anesthesiologist. More importantly, Maharashtra has got several other important factors. The first lecture that I delivered as a guest lecture of the 607 lectures that I've delivered so far in a national platform, the first lecture was in a Maharashtra state conference in the year 1999 in Sangli. I was so happy that I could deliver my first talk in the same state where I did my postgraduate studies. And also, I'm very happy that the maximum number of orations that I've delivered so far are also emanating from Maharashtra, which included, as you said, the Nasik city branch oration in Aurangabad, then Dr. Tambe oration of Nagpur, Dr. Deshpande oration in Pune, Dr. Ambredekar oration in Mumbai. So I'm very happy that I have such excellent insights from my mentors and teachers, and Maharashtra formed a very important component of my growth into what little I have achieved. Now, the first story that I'm going to tell you is when I finished my MD anesthesia from PGI Chandigarh. After my DA, I went to do the MD in PGI Chandigarh, and after finishing that, in fact, when I finished my MD anesthesia in 1994, immediately after finishing, I attended the national conference in Jaipur, exactly 3 days after completing my MD exam. And fortunately, I did my exam very well, and I was fortunate to be the medalist for that year in 1994 for MD anesthesia. And my professor, Pramila Chari, introduced me to Dr. Sujit Kumar Pandit, who was the professor and head department of anesthesia in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So he asked me, Dr. Bala, just now I heard from your professor Pramila Chari that you did very well in your exams. I would wanted to offer you a job in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Are you ready to join? So those were the days when there was no mobile phones, and I didn't want to take any decision without consulting my father, though I was very, very, very emotionally struck that without writing any exam, getting into United States, and he said within 3 months he will get all the papers cleared. And like I met him in December last, and he said 1st April you will join the Department of Anesthesia in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And he said, first 1 year you will do research work, and then I will put you in rotation and you can also get into the American board exams. So it was a great offer. And I waited to give a confirmation because I wanted to speak to my father. And those days, it was not so easy to make a call. You have to go to the STD booth, you have to stand in the queue, then you have to make a call. Now we have emerged phenomenally. Next second, you can speak to whomever you want. But that night, I went to the meeting was in Jaipur, and from the place where I stayed, I just went and stood in front of an STD booth. Long queues will happen after 9 o'clock because the STD charges were 50% compared to the morning charges. So I waited for my turn, and when it came, I called my father. I said, this is an offer. And he didn't think too much. He said, you have one more sister to be married, and you have been out for nearly 4 years. And before that in Pune, so almost 6 years you have not been with us. I know you may have got a good job, but it is my wish that you come and live with us for some time. And I want you to get your sister married because I'm getting old, and then you do whatever you want to do. But I had to deny an opportunity that was given in a golden platform, in a golden plate. And I had next morning, I had to go and tell Dr. Sujit Kumar Pandit, sir, I'm extremely sorry. I don't want to do anything against the wish of my father. And I didn't really get perturbed. I thought if this is the path my father wanted me to take, I would let me take that path. And he was very surprised, but at the same time, he told me, I'm very, very happy that you listen to your father, and I'm sure I'll bless you that you will grow very, very well wherever you are. So this is one thing which I wanted to kind of share because it's a closed door meeting, and I've never opened up like this to any group except for some of my students. Because I want them to take a decision as they grow. And I wanted them to give a lot of importance to the parents who actually are the ones who are responsible for educating us. And it becomes too important to take their opinion into consideration. And I personally feel this is one point I would wanted to share. So this was in 1994. Then I went to the city of Coimbatore after finishing my MD anesthesia, leaving a job because my father said you have to come and live in the city. I went back to Coimbatore. the same Ganga Hospital was in the beginning phase those days, and Dr. Rajashekaran, whom you know is the chairman of Department of Orthopedics, he offered me the job of a consultant post after I finished MD when I was doing my second year MD. But all those days I was thinking after MD anesthesia, I'm either going to go to US or UK. So I told him, sir, there are a lot of opportunities outside India. I'll go and learn more of anesthesia there for 2 to 3 years. So I may not be able to join Ganga Hospital. So when this was a statement that I made to him, so he already recruited another anesthetist, Dr. Shekhar, who is still working with us. So when I went back in 1995 after finishing my MD, I didn't have a job, and I also kind of didn't take up the job that was offered in United States. So here I go just to make sure that I make my father happy. I printed a small visiting card. I went all around my city saying that I'm an anesthetist trained in PGI Chandigarh and I want to do my private work. I was an MBBS student from Coimbatore Medical College, so I knew a lot of surgeons. I did go and give them, but majority of them said already they have 2 to 3 anesthesiologists whom they're regularly calling, and possibly they'll say you'll be a 4th on call or 5th on call. So life was tough. But I just wanted to share with you that I never even brooded over this even a day. I didn't keep on thinking that I missed a job in United States, and here I'm trying to go to small surgical units. But I just also wanted to confess, all this happened only in the first 1 month after going to the city of Coimbatore. My essential ingredient, what I wanted to tell is, in PGI Chandigarh, we were taught that we have to see the patient pre-op. And every patient that whom you anesthetize the next day has to be seen the previous day by the anesthetist who is going to give anesthesia to the patient. This was a dictum. So first seen by the junior resident, then it will be signed by the senior resident, and the senior resident will inform the consultant every single case which is posted the next day. So this culture, and I imbibed it completely because I thought the intraoperative stress becomes extremely less when you know every intricate details about the patient whom you have seen. And for the patient, it is such a great happiness to see a known face next day in the operating room. And I personally feel this is one of the most essential ingredients of a professional as an anesthesiologist, to see the same patient whom you're anesthetizing the next day. So when I started my practice, when a surgeon used to call, I'll say that I would like to see the patient pre-op. And I had certain very rude answers. They say patient will get admitted at 2 o'clock and the surgery will be at 3 o'clock. So it was tough, but I decided that I'm not going to work with them for a long time. Internally, I decided. And the turning point for me came in one of the private hospitals, which I was going as a visiting consultant. On the other side was the senior most anesthetist, who was one of the most popular anesthesiologists of that city at that time. He was trying to intubate a patient who was 130 kilos for a lap cholecystectomy. And he was the brother-in-law of a movie actor. And so there was their family doctor also inside the operating room, and very high profile. And the senior anesthesiologist was all set to intubate the patient. I was in the next room I was giving anesthesia to a head injured patient, and just got over. I had extubated. It was a depressed fracture skull. At that point of time, one theater assistant came running towards me. They said, "Sir, please come with me. There is some problem." When I entered inside, the senior anesthetist was profusely sweating, couldn't intubate, could not ventilate. The heart rate of that patient was around 190. saturation was 64, and there was a very tense atmosphere there. And why I wanted to convey this to you is the importance of a group practice. In dire situations like this, I think if we have an additional help, it's going to be of great help in tiding over a crisis. So this is what exactly happened. I was very young and I had no stress on me when I went inside the operating room. So the minute I went, he said, "Please take over. I think he's going to die." So much was his stress. And for me, the most fortunate thing was I was not emotionally involved, so there was no stress. And thanks to the proper skill sets that we were trained in PGI Chandigarh and BJ Medical Pune, I could just do with an extra large blade in one go. I could intubate. Thanks to Almighty that He gave me the courage and strength in that dire situation to intubate this case. And within seconds, he became better. The pressure started going down. And now the laparoscopic surgeon asked me, "Do you think I can go ahead with the surgery?" And I was too young to take a decision, but my inner conscious said, I never knew what happened to this patient, because when I saw the patient, the pressures were very high, heart rate was very high, and he was hypoxic. I was very concerned about the possible neuronal injury that could have taken place, and I didn't know what to expect when I'm going to extubate the patient. So I told them that, in my opinion, since a critical incident happened today, and I'm not part of the entire process, I would not be very happy to continue giving anesthesia to this patient. And we extubated the patient that day. The patient was later referred to a very popular center in Chennai, where he got operated. But here I thought I should share this thought process with you, that wisdom becomes important from our experience, and we need to listen to our inner conscious to probably take the right decision when you're in a tight corner. It's not the ability to give anesthesia to that case, but it's the ability to face the consequences of certain things which you did not know or which you were not part of. And this is a take-home message which I thought I should share it with you. Later, this particular episode and incident gave me enough number of cases in the next 3 months, because it spread, the news spread like a wildfire. Coimbatore was a much smaller city at that time, and it was a very important person who was saved. So this kind of gave me the new visiting card, where I generally was going with one small printed visiting card, but this spread like a fire. And I'm just happy to tell you, in another month, every day I was booked. Every day I had cases, and slowly I started choosing only neuro anesthesia. I wanted to do only critically ill cases or challenging cases, because I was exposed to that adequately. I did nearly 9 months of neuro anesthesia as an MD anesthesia student in PGI Chandigarh, and neuro anesthesia became one of my very favorite anesthesia. So AV malformation, aneurysmal clippings, posterior fossa surgeries. So I got attached 3 days to a neurosurgical unit. Then 3-day freelancing, only 1 day I was in Ganga Hospital for the first 2 years. But later I had to take a decision. When Ganga Hospital started growing, they asked me one question: if you want to continue here, you have to become a full-timer, which means I had to leave off the most important thing I liked, the neuro anesthesia, and I'm going to confine myself to one center and one specialty. So I sought the opinion of few of my friends. What should I do in this critical juncture? And there were a lot of difference of opinion. Many people said, no, you shouldn't get attached to one center. You shouldn't get attached to one specialty. It will become very boring if you get attached to one specialty. So I had so many different opinions. And at this point of time, again, I asked my father, so what should I do in this given scenario? So Dr. Rajshekaran happened to be the student of my father because my father was a mathematics teacher and a headmaster of a school, and both Dr. Rajshekaran and Raj Sabhabadi were his students. So he said, from what I've seen them as students and from what I've seen them as a family, they are very pious and ethical family. So he said, I would wish that I would want you to start your journey and continue your journey and live with people who are very ethical, very pious, and who will lead you appropriately. And this again was my father's decision that I stick to people who are very ethical. So this is another turning point in my life. Then I realized that money is not important. Money is important, but money is not the only criteria with which you have to take decisions. You have to sleep well the night that you go to bed, and this can happen only when you're surrounded with people who are very positive, who are very ethical, who are very progressive, who will allow you to grow, and who will talk to you straight. It's not that they speak one in front and one in the back. And this crucial decision helped me to grow the way they have allowed me to grow. This is my 28th year, and today I recollect that the first case I did in Ganga Hospital was the 12th of April, 1995. And then I became a full-timer there in 1998. And this 25 years of my existence in this institution, which has aligned me to positive people, positive thoughts, have allowed me to really, really grow into an individual who can be very positive because of this influences. So this is an inflection point which I just wanted to share, because many youngsters, when they finish their MD anesthesia, they do not know what to do next and whom to join, because many of them keep money as the criteria, number of cases as the criteria, and survival they think is very important, and they kind of give one figure for every month, and they wanted to achieve that target or that figure, and if that figure they achieve, they think that they've succeeded in life. And I think possibly this is not true. It may be true for the first few years, but then for an organized growth, for evolving holistically, for contributing phenomenally, for creating a legendary life for yourself, I think it becomes important and crucial that we need to be with the progressive, ethical, and positive people. So the next thing which I wanted to share with you is humility. When I was about 36 years old, I just finished my 3 years term as the Secretary of Indian Society of Anesthesiology, Coimbatore City Branch. And I did 36 continuous consecutive meeting, and which helped us to win the Best City Branch Award. This was awarded to me in the ISA conference, which was held in Kathmandu in 1998. Actually, that was one conference which was held outside India in Kathmandu. And to share with you, that was the first flight journey I took, because all the time it was train or bus, and that was the first journey that I took by a flight, and it was an experience by itself. So since they thought that I was hardworking and put a lot of effort, when Coimbatore was declared as the center to do the national conference, the ISA Gold Con, the 50th Golden Jubilee Conference of Indian Society of Anesthesiologists in 2002. In 2001, January, they told that 2002 is the conference. So the city branch meeting was called, and various assignments were given: chairman, organizing secretary, trade in charge, transport in charge, entertainment. For everything, people took it. When it came to scientific committee, there was not a single anesthesiologist, much senior anesthesiologists were willing to take up the challenge. And they told that it's one of the toughest things to do a scientific program of a national conference. But even I wasn't sure, because I was too young and I hardly knew anybody. So I was very skeptical, but they forced on me. They said, you have to do it. So that particular night when they allotted to me, it was very tough. And the whole night, I didn't sleep properly, thinking that that was a very huge burden to do the scientific program of a national conference. Believe me, those were days where there was a lot of liberty to do as a scientific committee chairman. I just took only 124 hours. Then I thought somehow I will have to do a good job. And I went and spoke to one of my senior in my school when I was doing my undergraduation. He had finished his FRCA from Leicester, UK, and he had returned back, and he was working in the Coimbatore Medical College Hospital as an assistant professor in Department of Anesthesia. So next day I went to him. I said, "Sir, I've been given this job, and I think from what I see in this city, you seem to be the one who have got exposed to an international hospital, many people outside India. Can you help me? And may I request you to be the co-chair of the scientific committee?" He said, immediately he said, he's Dr. Hanumant Rao. He's currently working in Gold Coast, Australia. I want to recollect his contributions to my ability to learn. So since then, not a single day crossed without doing something. And every night after work, between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, both of us used to meet and we started planning. And I wanted to tell you, without knowing anybody, without any contact, without any networking, we started working. But we had a strong belief that we need to do the best ever conference that's possible. And we divided the country into 5 zones. And we started asking the zones who were the best academicians of that region. And and also we found out the Copes Award. You know that there are 6 different categories. Like then we try to find out who is good in cardiac anesthesia, who is good in neuro, who is good in trauma, who is good in pediatric. So we chose like Dr. G.D. Puri from PGI Chandigarh, Dr. Lakshmi was from Mumbai. She was the most prominent pediatric anesthesiologist at that time. So like this, we created our guides for various channels. And I just wanted to tell you, with all their help, we formulated a scientific program. And by March 30th, 2001, the entire scientific program for the 2002 national conference was ready. And most importantly, our organizing chairman and secretary agreed for all the suggestions we gave. And we had in total 48 international speakers of repute. And we had 3,600 anesthesiologists attending the conference. And we did it in the PSG Institute of Medical Science. And we requested PSG Institute of Medical Science to help us in creating an ambience that would allow people to sit in the hall throughout. So we air conditioned 6 halls. And even today, the auditorium of the PSG Institute of Medical Science has got the air conditioned, which we did at a cost of 12 lakhs way back in 2001. Even now, that AC was given by us. And also the pathology lab, the physiology lab, all this we converted into Hall B, Hall C. And here again, they gave us the freedom to channelize and create a hall the way we want. So we affixed air conditioners there. We used the interior decorators to make it look like a good hall. And I just wanted to convey to you that it was a profound success, that we had such excellent speakers inside. We started meetings on time. And what I do in GARC, I started way back in 2002. At 7:30 itself, we started with religious and spiritual speakers coming and giving a talk, and it drew heavy crowds. So this was something which energized me, that if you need to get people inside, you just need to give the right ambience, and you need to give the right kind of speakers and the content. It will be a runaway success. In the process of doing it, I also would wanted to thank Dr. B. Radhakrishnan of Trivandrum, who was the then president. When I presented to him the scientific program, I told, "Sir, I'm too young and too new. Please pardon me if I've done anything wrong, but this is my program. Kindly go through it and do let me know if I have to make changes." And I'm happy to say except for one topic he suggested on blood transfusion. Nothing else he said. He said, please go ahead. So at this juncture, I just wanted to share, it is not necessary that we need to have all the equipments to do something good. It's just that our strong belief, hard work, and effort would allow us to kind of do what you dream to do. When I was in the process of doing this, I learned a lot. I networked with several people. I understood the ingredients of making international visitors come to us. We learn a lot from the way of how they think. It's not professional alone. It is just every aspect of our life. Every culture has got something to offer. And I think it's very important and crucial to imbibe these qualities from them. That's why getting international speakers is just not to get knowledge from them. It is just to see how they live, how they work, what different are they? And is there something that I can learn from them? Is there something that will make me a better person if I imbibe some qualities from them? In this process, I wanted to tell another interesting story that in 2001, I said by 30th March, the entire program was ready. In May, our chairman, Dr. J.G. Shanmuganathan, Dr. Rajshekar's father, had to undergo an angiogram in Chennai. So I had accompanied him that time, and we had gone a day earlier. So the free day, I thought, let me go and visit Anna University in Guindy, that was in Chennai. The reason I went there was Sri APJ Abdul Kalam was a visiting professor. He has just retired from ISRO, and he was a professor in Guindy. I just thought I called our organizing chairman, Dr. Selvarajan, who is currently working in Kovai Medical Center. I said, sir, I have a free day, and can I go and meet Professor Kalam's secretary, get an appointment, so later we can all go and invite him to be the chief guest for the inaugural session because he's such an accomplished person. Dr. Selvarajan said yes. So I went to Guindy. I took a bus from where I was living, and then I went to Guindy, went into a huge campus, found out the office of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and I went to the secretary. I was talking to the secretary. I said, I'm so and so. I've come from Coimbatore. I'm a doctor. I'm an anesthesiologist. We need an appointment to meet Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam whenever you say in the next 2-3 months. As I was talking to her, someone patted me in the back, and I just turned back and saw it was Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was very short and very quiet, and he said, young man, how can I help you? So I told him, sir, I didn't actually come to meet you. I'm very junior, but I just came to meet your secretary to get an appointment. My senior doctors will come later and we'll meet you. He said, it's okay, come with me. And so he started moving forward. I just went behind him. I went to his room. I learned what humility is. That room was clean, neat, and there was only one picture, and that was of Mahatma Gandhi. Nothing else was there in the room. He said, please sit. I was so hesitant. I was surprised. I was not expecting this kind of a welcome. So I said, with my heart rate pumping, but I kind of recollected myself. I sat. He said, what can I do for you? He said, sir, we are conducting a national conference in Coimbatore, December 2002. We wanted you to be the chief guest for our inaugural function, but I'm too young, sir, but I will come back with my senior doctors. Please give an appointment. He said, I will become the chief guest. I don't need any other senior person. You are enough. But I have a few questions to ask. First question he asked, how do you compare an Indian patient to a patient who is in United States? Are you offering the same services that your counterpart in United States or Europe is offering to you throughout this country? Actually, I did not have an answer. I kept looking at him because my mind was not prepared to answer this question. The next question he asked, was, please tell me, who is your role model in anesthesia? Honestly, it took me some time. I started thinking, whom should I tell? Whom should I tell? So he didn't give me more time. If he had given me 1 or 2 more minutes, I would have told my professor's name. But I was honestly trying to recollect whom should I mention. And by the time he said, see, this is the problem in India. You always try to follow the West, but you don't try to follow your own senior colleagues who have done extremely well. So now I'm giving you a homework. You go back, you tell your organizing team that you will recognize a person apolitically, the one who has contributed phenomenally to the growth of anesthesia in India, to be honored in your meeting. And he should be given a talk. And if several young people listen to him, they will get inspired, they will get motivated, and they will make sure that India also grows in the right track. And he said, I'm going to give me your email ID. My secretary will give you 10 questions. I wanted you to answer with the help of your seniors all the 10 questions. And if I'm convinced with the cause for which you're conducting this meeting, then I will come. So I came back, gave these questions. We had an exclusive meeting. 7 senior anesthesiologists sat with me to give answers. The email reply was sent, and he agreed to come. He said, I'm happy that many of the suggestions you have incorporated, and I will be very happy to come. So we were all thinking that he's going to be the chief guest. And it was about few months rolled by. And next time when I was in Chennai, I again thought I just will go and meet the secretary just to fix up formally another appointment, because now it is decided that he's the chief guest, but we had to work out the nitty-gritties and how he will come and all those things. So I thought we'll go straight and meet him, because getting on and telephonically was very difficult. So when I went this time, the secretary was the same, but the whole atmosphere had changed. And she said, I remember you. You just wait for a few minutes. Dr. Abdul Kalam sir is coming. So I waited there. I was in another 5 minutes. I saw he this time was completely different. He was surrounded by Black Cat commandos, and he walked into his room, and the commandos stood in front. And the secretary said, he's calling you, go inside. So I went inside the same room, same small room, and he asked me, Dr. Bala, I'm going to disappoint you now, but I'm sorry. I cannot be the chief guest for your function. I said, sir, you had agreed. Yes, young man, I agreed to be the chief guest of your function. But now, if I have to do that, I have to cost my country so much. He didn't tell me what is the assignment that he has got. He just told me that everything has changed. He's no more himself. He represents the nation. And then if he has to come only for this function, he said there would be a private aircraft and it will cost my country too much. I'm trying to equate the amount that will be spent in me traveling to Coimbatore. And he said he denied and he apologized. And he said, I am very sorry. My country comes first and everything is next. So please pardon me. Tell your seniors to find out another chief guest. Eventually, we ended up in requesting the governor of the Tamil Nadu to be the chief guest. But next day in the newspaper was flashed that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam as the president of India. So I just wanted to tell you, it fascinated me, it provoked me, it instigated me on the humility, the patriotism that was exhibited by him. And every single word that he used, every single question that he asked was to compare what we do as a professional to our country. What do we do to our poor people? Are we biased or unbiased? So these were big learning for me from such an erudite human being. And I think I see the time. I'll just probably finish with one more life story which had a deep impact on me. Again in 1999, I got selected for the Group Study Exchange Program of Rotary International. So this gives the opportunity of a young professional between the age of 25 to 40 years to be a part of a group which will go to another country. So the country which I went was United States. I went to the city of Seattle, or Rotary International District 5030. And 1 month you will stay with host homes, and the 1 day in a week you can choose as a vocational day. So when I went there, I learned so many things which I think will be another session by itself. But I understood why United States is far superior to in India in every respect. And these were opening deeply, it went into me. One example, the first host whom I stayed with, his name I still remember, Jew by birth, settled in US, Justin von Gottler. So I stayed with him for 5 days, learned a lot from him, the way they live. When you live in an American home and a progressive American home, you will understand where they are and where we are and what is the gap. So this I learned, and this is the reason why I tried to imbibe and inculcate everything that they do into what we do now. So I went to his house on a Friday. Thursday was my the subsequent Thursday was the last day for me with him. On Sunday morning, when we didn't have any program, so he was sitting with me in the breakfast table, and he said, Thursday evening, I will want to take you out for dinner, because on Friday you're going to a new host home. Where do you want to go? So actually, I was eating only bland things in US. So I told, I would like to go to a Chinese restaurant. I thought that Chinese restaurant may give some spicy food. This was the only thing I told. So after breakfast, he disappeared. And after 45 minutes, he returned back. He said, Dr. Bala, on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, I have fixed a table for 4 in one of the best Chinese restaurants in Seattle. But this is about an hour and a half from our house. And I booked 4 tables, one for me, one for you, one for my wife, and one for my mother-in-law who is going to visit us that day. And my young son, he was 1.5 years, he will create a lot of trouble and he will never allow us to speak when you are having dinner. So I have actually spoken to a babysitter and I booked her for 8 hours. She will come and take care of my child, Trey, and all the 4 will go. I called my office. I've canceled all my appointments after 2 o'clock. And this will allow me that I will drive from this direction. My wife will pick up you from Bellevue Square. From there, she will drive. I fixed up a car park, which is about 40 minutes from the hotel. And we will park one car there, and in the one car, which my wife brings, all the 4 will go to this Chinese restaurant. And believe me, so much happened for one statement I told, I want to go to a Chinese restaurant. And believe me, on Thursday at 5:58, we were there in that restaurant. And he said, just wait in the car park. We are 2 minutes ahead. And at the stroke of 6, we walked into that hotel. And believe me, the impact that it produced inside me, phenomenal and huge, which I'm carrying even today. And I thought, if you have to be a leader, it is in strategic planning. It is complete dedication to what you stand for, whether it is going to a hotel or whether you're doing a conference, whether you're doing a case. Professionalism has to be a component of every tissue of our body to push us forward and propel us forward. We cannot take anything casually. We cannot leave everything to the last minute. I think that produced a very, very huge impact inside me. So if you see GARC, or if you see the way we conduct AORA, it is just a reflection of what I learned in a young age on what is the gap between an American and an Indian, and why they continue to be leaders, and why we continuously be the followers. And one of the important reasons why I thought I should get into the national stream is not for the position, but to take a responsibility and prove to the world that we are inferior to none. Prove to the world that we can offer to the globe as much as they offer, and prove to the world that India is an emerged and a developed nation. I think the core values that built inside me were instigated by several such lessons that I learned in my life, which produced a huge impact inside me on how to become a good individual, a professional. So as a professional, Dr. Balaji, I think we are nearing 8 o'clock. Should I stop now?
No, sir, you can continue, no problem.
Okay, another 10 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is the flow okay?
Yes, sir, absolutely fine.
Okay, so this 10 minutes, I will just tell you my foray into regional anesthesia. So in one of the days when I was in Seattle, one of the vocational day that I picked up was Virginia Mason Medical Center. Virginia Mason Medical Center was the mecca of regional anesthesia of the world way back in 1998. So I was supposed to be there at 6:30. My host dropped me there at 6:25. And at 6:26, when I and my host walked into the lobby of the huge Virginia Mason Medical Center, there was a very senior person sitting there, and he was in his scrubs, and he just walked towards me. "Are you Dr. Bala?" I said, "Yes, sir." Then he introduced himself. He was an Indian, but married an American, settled in America. He's from Chandigarh. His name is Dr. Mambir Batra. He was the president of American Society of Regional Anesthesia at that particular year. And he was the head of the department of Virginia Mason Medical Center. So he said, "I know that you are the Rotary Gust who is going to spend one day with us. I chose to be your host today. Do not bother that I'm the head of the department, but it would be my pleasure to learn from you. And it would be my pleasure to learn more about my country where I was born. So it's going to be a two-way process of learning today." So the whole day I spent with him. And what amazed me was, number one, the head of the department and the president of American Society of Regional Anesthesia at 6:25, there to welcome a junior most colleague who has just finished MD anesthesia. That amazed me. Then when he walked me towards the changing room, and it was one of the in the change area, one of the alumni was named Dr. Bala. And inside that, he said, "Sorry, Dr. Bala, we did not know your build." The Rotary International, when they sent a mail, they did not say whether you are small-sized, medium-sized, or large-sized. So we have kept 3 sets of dress there. One small, one medium, and one large. And everything was labeled Dr. Bala, India. This shook me to the core. I mean, like, how much in depth they think in doing the smallest of small things. And all this actually, it was like hitting me hard on what I have never learned in my life with various opportunities. So after I was taken in, he kept introducing me as if I'm a big VIP to everybody in the department, and everybody warmly greeted me. The whole day I spent with them in the theater where they gave blocks. And we were not doing any blocks that time. Like even in Ganga Hospital, we were doing landmark technique. Even we were not using peripheral nerve stimulator at that time. So this was, they had started using PNS. They've just started using ultrasound there. And that particular day opened up my vistas on a new form of anesthesia. And at the end of the whole day I spent, I also spent the acute pain service round for 2 hours with Joseph Neal. If you see, a lot of review articles are written by Dr. Joseph Neal of Virginia Mason Medical Center. I learned a lot on how much they do in acute pain service. One anesthetist is completely dedicated to go and assess the pain, whether it's visceral pain, whether it's somatic pain, which dermatome is involved, which myotome is involved, what multimodal we are giving, what should we add. Such a meticulous post-operative rounds I've never seen so far in my life until I went to Virginia Mason Medical Center. This is why one of the essential reason why I made perioperative care a component of Ganga Hospital, which I learned at that young age. So in 2002, we started become perioperative physician, but the seeds were sown at that age when I went to Virginia Mason Medical Center. At the end of the day, he said, come, Dr. Bala, we'll have a cup of tea. He asked few questions about India and all that, and he told about his personal life. And he finally said, now you spent one day with me. How do I make you remember this day forever? Then I said, so can I become a member of American Society of Regional Anesthesia? He said, why not? Do you have $75 with you? I said, yes. So come with me. He took to his office, introduced his secretary to me. She gave a form to fill up. I filled it up, and you pay $75. He said, I did it. And then he told me, now you are a member of American Society of Regional Anesthesia. So he asked us, his secretary, to open the world directory to see how many Indians were there as members of American Society of Regional Anesthesia. And she went through it and she said, sir, I'm sorry. As of today, no Indian is a member of American Society of Regional Anesthesia. So this one day gave me an opportunity to become a member of American Society of Regional Anesthesia. The fallout of that was I was getting a journal every 2 months, a journal which gave me a new direction to my life, a new direction to my thinking, a new direction that I have to take for my patient, that is regional anesthesia. So the insight and the seeds were sown in a foreign land in Virginia Mason Medical Center. And that is the journey where I started to learn more of what you can offer to your patient through regional anesthesia. But the learnings were so solid that it made a huge impact. And hence, I always believe that all of us, it's not enough to be very happy doing just the clinical work. It is very important to explore the world. It is important to meet people of eminence. It is important to share their thoughts. It's important to learn in a conversation. It is important to see where we are deficient. It is important to bridge the gap. And life is a learning process. Every day you'll have to learn. Every day you have to try to become better, because at the end of our life, when you look back and reflect, every single year that passed by, you should be an evolving different person than the previous year. Every day should be a learning process. And for this, it's important that all of us have to visit centers of excellence, have to attend international meetings, have to network with people, just to blossom into a person who is more holistic, more inclusive, and who as a person we will evolve into having several components which we never thought does exist. So these are truly essential in making us what we are. And the final story that I would tell you is between 2012 and 2016, 4 years, I was in the panel, international panel of advisors for Smith's Medical International. They are headquarters in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So by being a part of this, every 6 months, you have to spend 1 week in their headquarters. You have to work with big models in developing products of regional anesthesia. You will be rubbing shoulders with the top 10 anesthesiologists in the world. It included Professor Vincent Chan, whom I've seen only in the journals. So this was the first time that I'm meeting people of great eminence, but phenomenal humility. None of them, you will not even know that he is such accomplished person. And what I wanted to reflect is every 6 months I grew, I went there, I learned so much from each of those legends. And I realized to become a legend, what you need to be and what you need to do. And most importantly, humility. They were so humble. And what I wanted to convey is, first time when I attended the meeting, the global chief of Smiths Medical addressed us. And later, I realized that they have divided their market into two. One, product for developed nation, the other product for the developing country. This actually did produce a deep insult inside me, because Africa, India, and Southeast Asia, where they never marketed their good product. And this did produce a huge impact. I was thinking about it. And as an Indian, when you get exposed to such an international galaxy of people, your mouth doesn't speak what your mind thinks. You need to have the courage to speak. So I was thinking about it all the next 6 months. And the next 6 months, when I went there, I derived all my courage. And when the global chief again addressed, after that, you will be given 2-3 minutes for all the 10 people to say something, to share their thoughts. So this time I said, I addressed him, and I told, in all humility, I want to place on record a small mistake that is being done by the business management leaders of Smiths Medical. I would wanted to represent my country. India, with 1.2 billion people, have 300 million people above the poverty, above the 300 million people who can offer anything or everything in this world. They own the best car, they own the best home theater, they have huge homes, and 300 million people in India. If you see this population, you will never see in many countries put together in Europe or Australia. So you made a huge mistake in not offering the best of your products to a country which can afford this equipments, and you're depriving the nations, and you're giving a divide. I request you to explore this possibility, and please offer the best products to a nation which can afford it. And believe me, I had so much courage. First time I've spoken like this, especially in the presence of so many whites. And but I'm very happy. That evening in the dinner, he said, Dr. Bala, I want to speak to you for a couple of minutes. I said, sir, you please come with me. So he took me to one corner. Number one, I said, I congratulate you for opening up your thought process. Number two, I deeply respect your sentiments. So I've already done the necessary things. I've appointed a person. He introduced me that evening. He will come to Mumbai in 2 months from now. He will meet the Smiths Medical Yash Kaul of India, and we are going to evolve a process of making sure that if your country can afford, all the products which we produce will be offered to your country head. So I realized that we need to open up, we need to question, we need to challenge, we need to put our requests forward, and it will be answered. I think these are lessons that we learn in our journey, how that we can evolve, how to compete globally. And I think time has come that we need to show our power, and we are capable. And each individual has to convert himself into an institution. Every professional in Ozone has to convert himself into an institution. Everyone has to tell that I would want to lead a life, a legendary life. Everybody has to think that when I'm gone, when I die, everybody should say he led a life which will be remembered many decades after we are gone. We need to lead a life like that. Every case we do, every surgeon whom you work with, you need to create a deep impact by your knowledge, by your wisdom, by your acts, by your professionalism, by your positive thought, by your commitment. You should become a legend by yourself in everything you do, in every day that you encounter. I think these are certain insights which I thought I will share with you today. And I respect your time. And I've already crossed 12 minutes more than what I was allotted. Thank you so much, Dr. Balaji, Dr. Sujit Kumar, and Dr. Sujata, and the entire members of Ozone family for giving me this opportunity to open my thoughts. To be very honest, I decided to speak without slides because I can open up my mind. I can share with thoughts which impacted me, which made me what I am today. And I hope I was able to convey things which I wanted to convey. And I look forward for each individuals in Ozone becoming an institution. And Ozone should mark the beginning of a new path and journey of professionalism of the highest order, which many people will try to emulate. Thank you so much for the opportunity.